Well, that's a quote and a half. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Sunday is here, therefore that means more Pariahs. Woo! Cheers. Cheers. I am a happy boy. The pirate's grog is back. Oh, God, I've missed it. Hashtag not sponsored, but Pirate's Grog. Beautiful rum. Yeah. Episode 10. Welcome in. Hello.
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 Hi.
How are
I
we?
knew it was coming.
Oh, it's good shit. Are we all good? Everyone well on this this Sunday?
Tickety boo.
Good. Well, we left last episode in a bit of a shit state, so it's time for fuck it, dive into it. What happened?
We started with 4 of the crew in the folly, looking all fucking fancy. While Reza was away. And then we followed those 4, pimp walking through lower streets, through the gate. Is it the Carnelian Gate?
I like how we both clicked onto the fucking map.
No, Obsidian Gate.
Obsidian Gate.
I thought Carnelian would have went fucking so good with that. Pimp walk through the Carnelian Gate, Obsidian Gate, into Coin Floor. To go get our ride and pick up Reza, who was having her makeup done. You know, vampires don't have reflections and all that. Hard to put makeup on without looking like a fucking clown.
Word.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we went to Jacqueline's shop to go pick up Reza and our ride, and we get there to find a giant 5-headed goose as our beast of burden and a chuckling DM. He was very happy with himself. I believe 2 people died.
Yeah.
As well, right?
Yeah.
We just killed outright by a meta goose. Okay. And nobody batted an eye either. Like, oh, okay. That's what you get for bringing a fucking giant goose, dickhead. But
In fact,
Vanya,
that points back to that earlier quote. You know, you should have put a leather strap in its mouth first.
which one?
Yes.
So yeah, Vanya recognized it as a hag creature that her beloved sister made, and she was like, "I want it." So, with the help of some less linguistically challenged friends of hers, and the brute force of Dorian pushing a cart in place so we could get the fucking thing hitched up, we eventually got it tamed. So we could ride on through town, which was nice. There was lots of lore dropped. I'm not going to go through it because we'd be here for the next fucking hour. Go watch the VOD. We learned lots about the fucking city, okay? Just take my word for it. It's like an hour worth of lore. Just go watch the VOD.
It's an hour worth of having to just sit there, brain rot, as the DM just talks constantly.
Lots of notes were taken. Until we...
What's that, sorry, Vanya?
Can I borrow those notes?
No.
No? Okay.
What happened to you being a better person and starting to take notes of your own?
you know how that goes. I've read my notes to you.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, we eventually made it to the Magistrate District. Luckily enough, everything's well signposted, and we got to the estate we needed to. Sorry about I had windy pops here. I didn't want to share it over the mic.
You should have done.
No, it sounded like I was about to vomit. So, but yeah, we got there. Our murder goose is chilling with the bloodwork automaton that's stalking the fucking grounds. And we got led into a chamber of the lady of the house by was his name Casper?
Casca.
Casca.
Yeah.
The werewolf.
Yep.
And everyone was like, I want one. I mean, they probably weren't, but I was like, I want one.
I want one. Yeah. Yeah, I thought so.
I want a husky werewolf. Make it happen. So we met the lady of the house, and she was like, well, you're not the fucking soundboard. And we're like, no, we're not. We're definitely not. To which she responded by having her eyeballs roll back in her head and then transforming into somebody else with some disguised magic stuff.
Some exorcism shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there stood for us is Lady Vulpescu. Who knew almost all about us, apart from Garrett. She didn't like that. She was like, I know all about you guys. Except from you.
And Vanya. She didn't know much about Vanya.
She don't know much about Vanya. Well, she knew about her little... She knew she was the happy healer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she called me a hag.
Yeah. You all have certain telltale magical emanations that kind of point people into a direction. And knowing one of you was basically close to the coroner, it doesn't take a genius to work out the rest.
Yeah. So yeah, we got the revelation that they knew about society and they leave them the fuck alone. But I do believe we ended the conversation of, what does everybody want?
Absolutely. So with that said then, we will pick things back up. Into the Magistrate District here, just in the northern parts of the district, away from the steampunk, or bloodpunk, should I say, main streets. We are indeed in the house of Dame Cordelia Muriel Vasari, a vampire under the control or servitude of House Vulpescu. And it's here where, as you said, Dame Vasari was taken over by Countess Catalina Vulpescu, and this conversation has been going back and forth. The Countess herself is eccentric, to put it politely. Very rarely does one thought seem to stay on her lips for too long before she's already connected dots and is talking through the next point. Almost like she's constantly a step or two ahead in her mind of where her mouth is. Obviously, the conversation that you all had turned to the point where Catalina with folded legs and chin resting on top of hands, leant in toward you all, a somewhat sickening, predatory grin on her face as she looks over each and every one of you. So, it's obviously you've all come here for something. For whatever reasons, I must know. So I ask again, what is it that you all want, With a quick flick of her hand, you would see a glass begin to materialize. Pieces of magic just begin to form around in a cylindrical shape before this glass bumps into existence in her hands. And with another quick flick of her finger, almost out of thin air, you begin to see this deep red crimson liquid begin to fill the glass up. She swirls it around. Looks to you, Reza. Offers the glass. Why don't we start with you, my darling,
Reza reaches a hand forward and takes the glass.
The Countess will lean back and again goes through a similar motion, a second glass appearing in her hand, followed shortly after with another fill of the red liquid.
Reza brings the glass up to her nose and just like, this is probably the best blood she has ever been in front of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And before she drinks it, she says, well, for my part, I really just wanted to see what would happen. Being what we are, which you have so cleverly deduced, my lady. What do you want of us? And then she sips.
So Catalina just begins to giggle, chuckle as she leans back on the sofa. As for the taste, Reza, it is indeed unlike anything you have ever had before. It's bliss. To the point where it's almost euphoric. Until you rest, I'm going to give you, if it's unused, a free point of inspiration to use on whatever you want. So that's advantage on whatever roll you choose.
Oh, shit.
You feel as the blood begins to trickle down your throat, immediately reinvigorated, almost as if every synapse, every nerve ending has just immediately come to life. This is not just blood, this is wizardry, alchemy almost. Yes, it tastes like blood, and for all intents and purposes, yes, it is blood, but there's obviously something else, or many something else's mixed in there that just gives it this undescribable taste. For any others, it would just taste like blood, but for you, oh, this is the high life. So with Catalina leaning back in the sofa, she strokes her chin, looking towards you, Reza, with a slightly tilted head. See, this is how these conversations always go. I ask something, and I was hoping for a little bit more, to be honest with you. You know, I ask, and then you ask, but you return, instead of giving an answer, you return with another question, and so on and so forth. I'm not about these games, sweetheart. I'm not about these games at all. As this, she stands from the sofa and begins to wander just to the side of the table, where she begins to levitate. Not looking at any of the group, almost as if she's looking at a picture or something 1,000 miles away. Her face just glazes over. For a brief moment, you notice that it's a somewhat bored expression, and as she begins to float closer to the wall, as she gets within 10 or so inches, she just reaches out with a toe and, almost like a ballerina, begins to step on the wall, turning 90 degrees as she starts walking up the wall.
Well, I have to say I was not prepared to come asking boons of one such as yourself.
No, but surely. And with that, she stops on the wall, roughly 10, 12 feet on the wall as she turns around and looks down at you all. Surely you had something in mind. You wouldn't just wander into a meeting such as this with the name of such as I, completely unprepared, would you? No, that's madness. That's, one could almost say, suicidal. Now, there is something you all want, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Now, as for my patronage, power and influence, my dear. How does that sound to you? She looks towards you, Reza.
Reza sort of looks around to her companions to kind of gauge how they're reacting to this.
How are the rest of you? What's going on with the rest of the group? As the Countess has basically just stood up, walked to a wall, and just started leisurely strolling up it. As if it was flat ground.
Cypher looks deep in thought, like he's thinking about something, like genuinely considering something. It's like, oh, okay.
Anybody else? No?
I'll just nod.
All right. Well, Dorian is intently looking at this because she's the Countess has been talking to Reza, and he doesn't really want to tip the apple cart by interrupting her, but he's definitely holding back from that. So he's keenly interested at the idea of using this to somehow secure a bit of an advantage.
And Vanya is just watching her because she's very impressed that she's able to do that and keep all of her garments intact.
You got it.
So after a quick glance around the room, Reza, looking up at her still, says, in a city such as this, we'd be a fool to say no to power and influence.
But is that what you want, or are you more the type for protection? Hiding oneself? It would be a shame to waste your gift. I assure you, it would be a terrible shame. For you, for me, maybe not the others. But still.
Well, that is an interesting thought.
She'll then click a finger, just as you finish the last word there, Reza, towards you, Dorian. You are very, well, at the mention of power, of influence, you were like a child with their first gift. Giddy. I could feel it. What do you wish?
Well, as I'm sure you're aware, Countess, there's a squabble going on, and we've already talked about the Doctore and the Merchants Guild, but there's something of your gaze turned that way also. And my interest is, and in this tone, almost like putting on a little bit, is the area that we've come to call home in the lower streets. For their benefit, we'd like to see neither of these squabbling groups greedy for their own satisfaction and adulation. And we'd like to secure a little bit of our own homestead there, free from their constant quibblings. And of course, if one such as yourself could help, and he's going to gesture towards Reza, live to see that and see the fruits of labors come true, that would be ideal.
Rather greedy, aren't you? I can't say I don't dislike it. Your own district. Well, that certainly is something that we can agree on, and I do dare say, for that matter, that our goals may even align. Good, good. We should clap our hands together.
Of course, the court would own the district, just the influences currently there are just, how to say, underwhelming, perhaps.
Well, the Sandoval's are already on the way out. It wouldn't take much of a push to just send them off the edge. Hold that thought. And you, my dear sweet little princess? She'll click a finger towards you, Vanya. Forbidden knowledge, perhaps? You seem to be a somewhat studious sort.
Yes, but you know, it hasn't really changed from what I've told you on wanting to, you know, change those for the better, to be more optimistic, to be a beacon of hope. But I guess I could do that in certain ways.
Very well. Very well. And you, my rather stern-looking elven friend, you've been rather quiet for this discussion. Surely there is something you wish of me? Our little brewmaster.
I would like the autonomy for the Baron's Folly. We have certain ventures that have been heralded as a place of neutrality where people can come, enjoy themselves, and not be worried about a dagger in the back.
That's
Where
right.
business can be done.
A rather
Without the
simple.
need for escorts.
She nods. A rather simple request. Is there nothing further, nothing more grand that would persuade you to ask of me?
Well, will we be working at your command as being our sponsor? I just ask that you do nothing, ask nothing of us that will void the
Inconvenience?
neutrality of our place.
Of course.
Other than that, my needs are pretty well looked after. I have money, I have my interests. And eventually I wish to retire as a happy, wealthy man.
Well,
Reza, were you trying to talk then?
yeah, I was. Why?
She's currently looking at Garrett, and as you chime in, for a very split second, I need you to make a charisma saving throw, please.
I have advantage on this because I am Fey ancestry, right?
This
No,
is not charm.
Oh no, it's not.
This is not a charm. This is just her looking at you, and oh, you would just see her eyes dart to you momentarily as a single finger moves to her lips. And then her eyes turn back to Garrett.
She closes her. She turns back to the goblet and takes another sip.
Are there simple requests? Of course, yes. I'm sorry, Miss Teresa, it looks like you had something you wished to say there. It is now your turn to speak, and as for you, little... And Cypher, she'll cast a glance to you that has a brief look of either disgust or discomfort before turning her attention back to Reza. Go on.
I have been thinking, and my apologies for interrupting just now. And Reza kind of looks like she's kind of like mustering herself up to ask this question, maybe emboldened by this amazing blood. I do have a personal desire for information.
Ooh, really? She claps together, that, and skips up the wall even further until she's literally directly above all of your heads on the roof. And just looking down at you. Again, as Vanya, as you mentioned, her dress hasn't flown down. It's still as straight as can be. It almost looks as if gravity's not affecting her. She's just stood on the ceiling, this long black flowing robe behind her splayed out as she's just cocked her head to the side looking down on you all. Go on. I do love little personal requests.
Reza looks up at her, meeting her gaze. 25 years ago, the last authorized mission into the city below went missing. Do you know what happened to them?
Oh, that's a good question. Funny. No, I that was left to one of the subordinates of Koshevek's household, but I'm certain I can get you some details. It won't take me long.
I would appreciate it. That is my desire.
Well, consider this as a little, sweetener for the tea. I will offer this information freely once I have found it.
Reza nods in appreciation.
Now, last but by no means least, what about you, my little creature?
Cypher finally looks up at her. He's been in thought, and he wasn't paying any attention till she acknowledged him. So he then looks up at her and goes, something for me, something for you.
Oh?
What do you know about dimensional travel?
Dimensional travel? Why, my. There's a brief moment where she disappears before reappearing, Cypher, directly in front of you. Oh, I can't click on things because the token's not there, game. Damn it. You're gonna have to deal with the red circle for the minute. Fine.
Okay.
Do that.
So you get for showing off.
I know. What if we do it again? Game, you had one. There we go. Fixed it. All right. It's a death ring. So, she seems to just disappear in a cloud of red-hued mist for a brief moment before appearing right in front of you, about a foot or two away from you, Cypher. As she rematerializes, there is a finger directly under your chin, and she lifts your head up to look at her. Go on, you've got my attention.
I'm currently studying these, and I'm interested in dimensional travel.
Any particular dimensions? Because there are, well, if you're wanting to go, let's say, I don't know, to the ethereal plane, the fuge plane, limbo as some may call it, then easily enough done. Others, the Imperium plane, not so much. Not to say it can't be done, but, well, for someone of your disposition, you may find certain planes troublesome to connect with. But yes, I can help with that. Though the question does beg is, what's in it for me? Another plane, I have everything that I could ever want right here in the material plane.
How about this little tidbit of information? I didn't know this till I got here. Oh, I'm pretty sure my earliest memories are this part of the city. This specific part of the city, near a canal. And I wasn't alone, I don't think.
With her finger still under your chin, Cypher, you would... I mean, you can try and resist if you want, but she's basically going to move your head with just her finger. And there's immense strength behind that finger. As she just starts to turn your head to the side, looks at you in one direction before using the finger to move your head to the other side. She begins to just look over you, a thoughtful expression across her face as she starts to slowly nod. More. Interesting. Oh, very interesting, but unpleasant. No offense, sweetheart. It's just there's She takes a finger away and just motions to your whole visage. Something about you just unsettling. Remind me of well,
Him?
yes. So, interesting propositions from all of you. Very well.
Vanya raises her hand.
And she'll immediately spin round, look at you, Vanya, click in your direction and smile. Yes, Vanya.
You had mentioned something about knowledge and teaching, and would there be a way to teach someone to be more dominant? You know, I want to meet my objectives no matter the cost. I'm incredibly determined, and, you know, I will not rest until my goals are achieved. But I want to be dominant. To anyone that's linked to me, to kneel and to make sure that, you know, my sisterhood's objectives still follow the right path, and I wouldn't want my agreements to get in the way of my objectives.
Hearing this, Catalina's arms are just thrust out to the side in pure ecstatic excitement. You've seen her grin. It's always been this predatory look. This time, no, this is just a wide beaming grin of excitement and happiness as she just steps up towards you, Vanya, and embraces you, pulling you in close to her. Of course. It's oh, sweetie, that's beautiful. Of course we can do that. You come under my patronage and, well, the whole archives of the Sanguine Academy, I'll get you in there. You can have the archives of the city at your disposal, as well as a few other grimoires and a few books and parchments that may be in my own personal stash.
Really? But what must I give you in return?
She steps away from embracing you, Vanya, and then motions a hand to the entire group. And now, we start talking business. Yeah, so, to me, and she'll swan back over to the sofa and sit down in it. To me, there's the easiest option. I can grant you all whatever powers or privileges, secrecy, and she points towards you, Garrett, as she says this, and fly under the eyes and ears of all and others who may be interested. I can grant that. It won't be a problem. Influence, power, that is where, in what I want from you in return. Simple. So, here is what I want. I want House Sandoval to be brought to ruin, to be pounded to dust, so that naught can remain, not even their name, to go in the history books. And in your unique position, I believe you may have the necessary skills and temperament, personalities to accomplish that. Of course, not on your own. I don't expect you to waltz into High Street, into the Sandoval's main mansion and put them all to the sword. Oh, no, that's far, far too barbaric. No, what I want is to see everything around them crumble. Every coin bled. Every member of their household fall to ruin. I want the house deposed. And in their place, who knows, maybe a new noble house could rise and take control of Sandoval's holdings. Or if not, then by all means I could just subsume them into my own. That's
Reza
what I
coughs
want.
slightly and takes another sip of wine.
Now, unfortunately for you, this is not so much as of an offer. Consider this a command. And in return for your most trusted services, I will grant you, each and every one of you, yes, that which you desire. The autonomy of your business ventures, the access to forbidden laws and magics within the Sanguine Academy, which, by extension, will no doubt proliferate to your little cult that you run, Vanya. As for you... Go on. She'll just pause for a moment and look to you, Vanya.
I wouldn't... It's not a cult, it's a beacon of hope.
A beacon of hope?
Yeah. Yeah, a cult it's just so negative. It's a beacon of hope.
A beacon of hope?
And
like
Vanya's
that.
looking around to the group and like shaking her head, trying to get them to like, you know.
No, I agree.
You get nothing.
Nothing.
No, I agree. That is a beacon of hope. Huh. Yes. I like that. As for you, Master Dorian, well, with Sandoval gone, I believe that would be, what's the term? Some of you use 2 birds, 1 stone, yes?
Been a while since I've seen any birds around, because I saved the goose atrocity. But yes, I think that your goal and ours aligns quite well.
Very well. And, let us just say that any and all dealings in Lower Streets, and in fact, you know what? Why not? Let's just go for the entirety of outside the walls. Anything in the slums, be it the Dark Town, was it? Is that the place in the far north? In Krantov?
Yes, my lady.
I know. She just sighed.
Just doing it
deeply.
on purpose.
Yeah. I don't want... Yes, man. You know I'm wrong.
Kartov and Mom's Town.
Mom's Town? Good. You're starting to understand. I want thinkers. I want people who scheme. I want people who don't follow rules by the book. If I wanted that, I would go and get one of the many fucking servants. Bear in mind, this is probably the first time she swore. You see her temper starting to flare slightly. If I wanted, say, yes man, or yes woman, or someone to just do my bidding, I would have pulled one of the bloody mages out of the fucking high seat court into doing this. No, think for yourselves. If something is wrong, challenge it. That includes me. What's the worst I'm going to do, You are now a favored, trusted member of House Vulpescu. Are you not?
For now.
For now. I like you. But I think it's a little early for you to try testing your luck with a contest of words.
I mean, some of us will live a long, long time. Who knows in 1,000 years?
Some of you may live a long, long time. Who knows in the future? Almost parroting your words, Cypher. Catalina crosses her legs and just smugly grins at you.
Was she staring at anyone
Cypher.
in particular when she said that?
Cypher. Just
Okay.
Cypher. Yeah.
Cypher literally did to get a rise out and see if he could get a rise, and he got exactly what he wanted. So he's like, "Yep."
Reza raises her glass, which is almost empty, and says, "To a profitable working relationship, my lady."
Of course, of course. Now, there is one small matter that I must impose on you all before you depart.
What might that be?
Oh, it's nothing so serious. No need for the sternness there, Master Dorian. It's just insurance. I will be putting gas on all of you. It'll only last for 30 days, so don't worry. But should you make public any of the details or this meeting to any of the riffraff outside of this room, then there is a chance something unfortunate would befall your person. I trust you all agree to these terms.
Nods.
Doesn't serve us to tell anyone anyway. Agreed.
No objections to that.
Reza
We'll
looks.
hold the secret like our own.
Good.
Reza looks at Vanya with concern.
She's gonna say, "What? I can keep a secret."
Good. Well, in that case, I can't do this as a mass thing. Sadly, it's going to be a little one-on-one endeavor. I'm just going to require a minute or so of your time for each and every one of you. Who wants to go first?
Reza raises her hand.
Countess Vulpescu will step up towards you, Reza, and she'll begin to mutter a few words of enchantment. And it takes roughly a minute to cast the spell. Yes.
Can Reza understand the word she's saying?
Roll me an Arcana check.
I'm going to use my inspiration for this, because why
Okay.
the fuck not?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No. There is hints that sound similar. You don't know where from. You can't, you can't seem to just make the connection. But some of the words that she's using is a tongue that you've heard once or twice before from someone in the past.
Stupid double sixes.
Mm-hmm. So, are you choosing to... So with this, her basically telling you she will be placing a GS on you. Do you want to try and make a wisdom saving throw to go against it, or are you just going to happily let it go?
Will she know if I save?
Yes.
Then I'm gonna let it happen.
Okay. So, the rest of you would watch... in fact, Vanya, Cypher, if you two could make me Arcana checks as well.
Ayo.
Oh, I saw a 2 there, Cypher.
Yeah, but it's not though, is it?
Oh, alright, Cypher, I will DM you, the why you've heard it, but for Reza, as she steps away from you, she would just, Countess Volpescu would just smile and nod. There we go. So, the conditions of such spell is that should you make any mention of this meeting or that you are working for me for the next 30 days, this goes for the rest of you as well, yes, if you mention anything about our little meeting here or that you're working for House Volpescu, well, the side effects would be unfortunate for you, so best to just keep it under wraps. So, in a nutshell, if the way this works, if you mention that you've met with House Volpescu or any of the details of this meeting in the next 30 days, you will take 5d10 psychic damage. But it only lasts for 30 days. Unless she cancels it otherwise. Over the span of the next 5 minutes or so, she will go to each and every one of you, unless anyone wishes to try and push back against it.
Fuck no, that'd be suicide.
Now, would this be, because I don't know, like, within the next 30 days, is she going to have somebody kind of check in on us and talk with us? Is this, like, against someone who doesn't know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Or is this just between her and us? Just want to make sure.
No,
just
so...
because, I'll probably mess it up.
Oh, no. So, basically, this anyone outside of those in the know, so anyone outside of yourselves, Countess Catalina and House Volpescu, who Catalina herself has told, you will suffer 5d10 psychic damage.
But she will let us know if she's told someone, right?
No. No.
All right, I'm just not talking to anybody.
That's how Jump took 5d10 psychic damage.
That's how Vanya
Every
died
day.
in this campaign.
So, would this also apply to Elias and Munchie?
Yeah, basically. You told anyone outside of this, this room, that goes against the words she's spoken. Anyone outside of this room, so you 5 are the only ones who would know. And anyone that, because she is the one who holds the gear, she could tell people freely. So yeah, no Elias, no coroner, no nurse.
Shit. So we can't even talk about it like in the Undercroft because like Elias is everywhere. Good question, Reza. But we could talk about it amongst ourselves. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Just in an area where they can't get to and listen. Oh shit. I need a drink.
It's pretty savage, is it not? So, with that, and the small ceremony taking place as she mutters a few words of incantation to each of you, you would all notice for a brief moment that there is a sigil, a magical sigil that glows roughly just above your heart and through your clothes, so you can see it as the gear spell takes effect. So I hope you all understand the nuances of this. This meeting is, for all intents and purposes, a secret. Now, as for what was the road? Yes, the road. There won't be a problem anymore. Give it a few days and... Oh, that's a great idea. Master Garrett, how would you like to become the new... what's the word? Contact for the Silent Road. Oh.
Telber is the contact of the Silent Road for Nova Stoya.
For now, I'm offering you a promotion in that respect.
So the go-between between the court and the road?
She grins widely and nods several times. How does that sound?
Would give us an excuse to be in contact with the more hard-to-reach parts of the city.
So, here, and using a very similar skill to the creation of the glasses and blood from earlier, Garrett, she would reach a hand out towards you, and in her hand begins to materialize this gold sigil, roughly about 2 or 3 inches in diameter, almost like a rosette, with the sigil of House Vulpescu. This is from Miss Cordeia. Or... she looks down at her body for a moment. Dame Cordeia Muriel Vasari, you, for all intents and purposes, should anyone ask, you are acting on her orders now, under the umbrella of House Vulpescu. Now, don't... try not to invoke that too often, but that little rosette will get you in and out of whichever district you see fit. As for you, Miss Vanya, same again, another small medal appears in her hand. Black and reddish magics begin to coalesce around as this square bullock appears, and she hands it towards you. This is the token required and typically held by all mages from the Sanguine Academy that will get you in through the checkpoints, should you ever wish to visit.
Oh, I will. Thank you.
Though if you lose it, don't expect another one. I will tell you the same as that they tell all the initiates and acolytes in the Sanguine Academy. That's your one and only token. You lose it and, well, you lose access to the Academy. And as you may be aware, a lot of people who've lost access to the Academy are no longer classed as mages of the court and are... and she draws her thumb across her neck.
Does it give me anything else other than access to the, academy? Does it give me certain privileges to do certain things out and about?
Privileges? Oh, I understand now. Yes. By all means, you're free to cast whatever magics you want in the city. Should any of the wardens or members of the lesser minions turn up, then yes, they will show them that, and you'll be fine.
But do I need to wait 30 days before I do and show that?
No, because you're working for Dame Vasari, aren't you?
Okay, I just want to make sure I don't go against any agreement.
Now, as I say, worst case scenario, if anything happens like what happened in Malmstown with the old magic, if any of the cohort sanguinea turn up, just show them that sigil, they'll be understanding. Granted, there may be a few questions, but you have carte blanche, permission to cast whatever spells you wish amongst the city.
And I just show it. I don't need to like rub it first or like anything special.
You can rub whatever you want, sweetheart, but no, you can just show the thing. And she'll step up to you, Vanya, and just pat you on the head briefly. Go on, Dorian.
Dorian, this entire conversation has just had his face in his palm and just elbow on his knee, just like just waiting for it to be over.
Vanya's gonna take it and she's gonna see, Dorian acting that way, but she's gonna show it to like everybody in the group, kind of like a prized participation ribbon, but is like so proud of it and is like showing it to everyone.
Reza makes a face to Garrett like, "Lo, give me strength."
Cypher, Dorian, Reza, and also you, Garrett, are given pins with the sigil of House Vulpescu on. You don't need it, Vanya, because you've got the Sanguine Academy sigil. That's almost above, for certain respects, what the rest have got. But these small pin badges with the sigil of House Vulpescu emit, at least for you, Cypher, a slight hint of magic to them, so that you get the impression that should anyone try and identify, they are a legitimate item. And these will, over the span of the next 10-15 minutes, she explains that these things will allow you to bypass district gates. And for you, Dorian, should worst come to worst, not to overuse it, but you can request warden support as governor, or potential governor. Governor-elect of Lower Streets.
When she hands Reza the pen, can Reza ask, any possibility this would allow me to go somewhere where I can get more of that delightful drink?
Oh, why yes, of course. Have a stop by the Bloodworks at some point, flash that, and I'm sure they will no doubt drop a nice little case at your feet, whilst prostrating themselves and worshipping the ground you walk on.
Reza just licks her lips and grins.
So,
my lady,
you are more than welcome. Now, obviously I expect great things from you all. Mainly the downfall of House Sandoval. It would be a shame for you to disappoint, so please try your best not to. And should you require... Oh, by the way, that will not get you into High Seat. You step foot into High Seat District, and there's a good chance you... She points to the fire. See those burning logs? Without an invitation, that would be you. But for all intents and purposes, you are free to go wherever you please.
Thank you. These things will be most useful moving forward.
Oh, you asked for barriers to be removed, and therefore they have been removed. I can offer I could just click my fingers and wipe away all of the filth in the slums for you, Master Garrett, but, well, she leans towards you, Garrett. Where would be the fun in that? I want to see what you do.
Dorian's going to stand up and start pulling his gloves on. Well, thank you very much for your hospitality, Countess. I'm going to give a quarter bow, and I think we know what we must do.
I am holding... Oh, that's perfect timing. Yes, that'll coincide marvelously with the old... Funnily enough, in 30 days' time, I'm hosting a bit of a ball. How about you all attend? I'll send a servant with a missive to pass through into High Seat, but to congratulate your successful endeavours over the month and the breaking of the gears. Convenient, that, yes?
Is it masquerade?
Of course, my dear. Of course.
She gets really excited.
So, I believe I've answered all of your questions you've been given. Blah, 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 blah. I look forward to seeing what you do. I will keep my eye out, and if anything interesting occurs, I'll let you know. Or how about every week I will... Yes, that. I will send someone to visit every week, and that way, if there is something you wish to share, or something that I think may be interesting for you, we can do so. Huh.
How will we know that it's the person that you've sent?
Oh, don't you worry, my sweet. You'll know. You'll know. It's at that moment where the disguise self spell begins to peel back from Countess Vulpescu. It starts off with her robes beginning to disintegrate into this inky black mass before eventually sat before you in the same pose as before is the visage of Dame Cordea Vasari as she blinks a few times, looks over you all. Oh, it would appear that our mistress has finished her conversation and you are all alive. Huh. Quaint. And that's where we'll call it quit BRB.
Oh, God, for that.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, I could not wait.
No. All right. Yeah, we will be right back, folks. Cheers, Durs. And I'm also going to take this quick moment. Oh, ads are about to start in 2 minutes as well. In that case, so yeah, we'll crack on for the minute. Diesel, thank you very, very much, my dude, for that gifted sub to Sneezer, and for being an absolute fucking mad lad and just splooging out 1,000 bits. Mate, thank you, as always. I do appreciate it, dude. Why you no speak to us? Come say hello. Stop being a bitch. After that, though, we've got Rayvon. Thank you for the 100 bits, my dude. Also appreciate you. Durs with a 45-month resub. Choo-choo, motherfucker. Choo-choo indeed. Lucius with a 59-month. Jump, 49-month. Tier 2. Mad lass. And I know Shade was in there somewhere with the 40, 47, 49 month. 41 month. Close enough. Shade, go touch grass. All right. But yeah, we'll be right back, everyone. Adverts start in a minute. So by the time we get back, adverts will start. Ha! Get fucked. Won't be long.
Welcome back.
Got me some Twix and Kit Kat. We got leftover Halloween candy. Munching on it.
Oh, I really want Kit Kats now.
Twix used to be my jam.
I'm a
Whirly
big
used to be mine.
fan. Oh, sorry, Lucius.
I was saying Curly Whirly used to be mine, but now they're less Curly Whirly.
100
China.
grand. 100 grand is mine.
Curly
I know
Whirlies
what
were
that
really
is.
good.
I'm back.
Arrow bars. I like those.
Mint Arrow. Oh.
Yeah, mint arrows. And Cadbury eggs used to be good. Now they're kind of
They were good before Kraft bought Cadbury's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
changed the chocolate.
Yeah.
Cunts.
And the filling.
Did you feel it? I haven't had one right. No, I haven't.
Lee, did you say you don't know what 100 grand is?
No,
It's like
we don't
the
have them in the
best.
UK.
It's like a oh, what do you call those? Like they've got like the Crispies in them with caramel and I'll post you something. Oh, so good.
Sounds like a picnic
Or toffee crisp.
or toffee crisp.
Yeah. Rayvon,
Doesn't have to.
thank you, by the way. It did. I've just checked. Appreciate that donation, my dude. Thanks for all the help. You are welcome. You are more than welcome. We've still got a minute of adverts. We'll give it a second. Carry on. I'm just gonna drink the yeah.
yes. Well, we've got so much to do now.
That go how you thought it would?
Mm-hmm.
Ish.
Yeah.
Like, you play to someone's vanity a little bit. Certain people play that more than others. Just kind of find a mutual interest. Now there's just a matter of getting it done.
Yeah. No pressure. You've only got to kill a vampire noble house.
You say it like that, but it's more artful. It's like a plant. You just gotta poison the ground it feeds from, and just let it succumb to corruption and infighting. And no, it's not anything so grand as a frontal assault on a keep yet.
Yet. And that's a good idea.
No, we've done that. Okay, we've done that.
I'm going to need a ship of the line, a dock, and a few
Ship of
dozen
the grape
barrels
shot.
of grape shot.
All right. So then, with that, the whole demeanor of the woman in front of you's changed. What was eccentric is now stern, excitable, abrupt, as the form of Dame Cordelia Vasari is now evidently sat across the sofa from you, a single brow arched inquisitively as she looks over you all. I hope your conversation with Lady Vulpescu was profitable, and I dare say, welcome to the household.
Thank you very much. And I'll pull out the token that I was given.
Mm-hmm.
The trader's one. And I'm now for all intents and purposes, the go-between between the Silent Road and House Vulpescu.
Hold that thought for 2 seconds and let this cat out because it's scratching the carpet like a shit bag.
That's how they do.
All right, sorry about that.
One just snores.
Okay, sorry.
And I believe that the Bloodshot's difficult to get in the higher areas of the city.
Bloodshot. I see. Yes, it is. And, well... For a brief moment, Cordelia looks around the room, almost if looking for a ghost who isn't there. The previous gentleman or lady of the Silent Road, are they aware of this change?
Not as of yet, but we work in partnership with the Silent Road.
Then a word of advice from someone who has been under Vulpescu for many years, that if this gentleman is a associate or friend of yours, I would highly recommend, or if you value them, that you tell them to voluntarily resign from their position. Lady Vulpescu has, when she relieves people of their positions or grants others, typically doesn't end well for the other party, if you catch my drift.
Understood.
Now, if you wish for this gentleman to disappear, then by all means just keep quiet and wait for the inevitable event. But if you wish for him to continue breathing, then my advice would be to give him a heads up.
I'll take your warning and look into my options, but I can guarantee the flow of the Bloodshot will resume and be plentiful in the upper parts of the city for the right people. And the right people being House Vulpescu, who will control it.
Very well. Well, in that case, it seems that both you, and as she says this, she motions to everyone, you and I are all on the same level, as she motions to a single pin on her, just above her breast. So, if you do not have contacts in the Majesty District and beyond, then I will get together a small group of individuals who could take over that and distribution, or I can leave it entirely to yourself. The choice is yours, Master Garrett.
A list of the contacts would be most useful.
Very well. Consider it done. Also, if you are in need of an escort or a few soldiers whilst in the city itself, please do let me know. I'll be able to provide you with a small squad of my own house guard. We here in Vulpescu do our best to help each other, for I believe that is the best way of making sure that our mistress's temper doesn't flare. The fact that you are all alive is evidence that she either got what she wants or that you didn't anger her, so you have my respect. And my support.
Excellent.
Thank you. And should you ever need anything beyond the walls, I doubt you ever will. But
Yeah, you would see, Garrett,
you know where to come from.
there's a disgusted look that crosses her face for a moment as you mentioned beyond the walls. She's like, ugh. Like, ugh, brother. Ugh.
Well, a place of discretion beyond the walls, perhaps.
Of course.
Or just in Bloodsport.
Ah, see, sport is on the battlefield, clashing against the many generals of the Bragg Empire. That is sport. Running through the muck-infested streets of the slums, well... you are of another breed, I dare say.
I can offer inspiration if ever needed.
There's a moment where she looks over you, Vanya, and just shakes her head. I'm ever so sorry, but you do not have the grace, the manners, nor the divine essence that Lady Vulpescu herself has. I doubt there is anything truly inspirational about you.
Well, maybe I can learn those things to inspire all. Right, Garrett?
Just take the loss.
Vanya's just gonna sit down.
I understand your sentiment. Being the chosen blade of your lord is exhilarating, as well as satisfying to see your foe crushed before you.
She nods towards you, Garrett, in understanding and agreement.
We'll take up no more of your time, valuable as it is, and take our leave.
If there is anything you ever require whilst in the city, whilst I cannot acquiesce to every demand, I will do my best to make sure that you are seen to. On the condition, of course, that it furthers House Vulpescu's desires and objectives.
How things stand, we are but tools of House Vulpescu now.
You catch on quick, aren't we all?
Right then, let's find our way home.
For a brief moment, you just hear Corday just shout out, Casca, show our honoured guests out if you would be so kind. As she glances around the room, she sees no sign of the werewolf anywhere. Casca? Casca! There's a brief knock at the door before eventually... like a...
Here, Casca,
yeah,
Casca.
yeah, like a pretty much a dog that's been told off.
Hell between his legs.
Yeah.
But he's a good boy.
I am here, my lady. Apologies, I was sent away by Lady Vulpescu.
Never one for the dogs, but show our guests to the door, if you'll be so kind.
Very well. This way, if you would all, please.
Werewolf just motions, almost like a butler, a very big, muscular, furry butler.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to follow the Wolfman out then.
You are led out of the room, back into the central chamber of the manor by Casca. Again, noting the eerie silence, the lack of servants, apart from the one woman you saw earlier just make her way from one room to another with various cleaning implements in hand. But Casca shows you to the door.
Thank you, Casca.
No need for thanks. This is part of a servant's duty. And, well, Dame Vasari is quite the combatant, if I dare say so. While you may not know her, she is certainly a fiery warrior. If she is pledged to aid you in any way, then I dare say there aren't many who can match her blade in this part of the city.
Always nice to have powerful allies.
Yeah, it's funny to be the dog of the court.
There's a slight sadness to the werewolf's voice as he says this.
It's weirdly relatable. I'm sure we'll see you again before too long. And Dorian's going to turn towards the door and go and push it open for everybody to pass through.
Alright.
You didn't have to let the picture back up, did you?
I did.
I want to know which one is still standing, the automaton or the fucking goose.
Dorian, as you push the door open and step outside into the the streets of the Magister District, you would see in the courtyard in front of the manor the automaton stood in its typical guarding pose right outside of the entrance to the manor, but the Gazdra has broke free from its reins on the brass pedestal and is stood right next to the automaton. A couple of the heads, even though they've got the leather beak on, no. It's pecking at it, but the automaton's just stood there as the Gazra's heads just clang against the bronze armor of the Bloodwork automaton.
Well, that won't do, will it?
As you speak out, Cypher, the 5 heads immediately shoot up from the Gazra and turn to you all at the doorway, and for a brief moment there seems to be a sense of recognition as the Gazra calms and just looks at you all.
Cypher will go up to it and Silver and be like, "Did you miss us, big boy?" Put his hand out to stroke one of its heads.
Oh, roll an animal handling check.
Cypher's going to lose an
Not
you
so
go back
much.
time.
DC 15. Oh.
Oh, get in.
So, as you're stroking one of the heads, the other 4 become
jealous.
And there's a brief moment where the remaining 4 heads just start to gang up and bat, using their heads like flails to just swack each head out of the way. Cypher, at the last minute, you manage to just pull your hand back to avoid getting clattered by these 2-3 foot long giant heads of this angry goose.
Well, come along, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and Fred. Time to go.
Dorian's going to go up to the door of the carriage and pop it open so people can climb in.
I get in the back and reach a hand out to help Reza in.
Reza takes it as if she's expected it and just walks in.
I think the rest of us need to be up front, prevent this thing from doing anything too unanticipated. He's going to shut the door and start climbing up onto the front of the carriage and try and help Cypher and Vanya up there.
Okay. I don't know why she didn't just polymorph it, though. Would have made the whole endeavor a whole lot easier.
Well,
Listen, my belief, now that we're all here, is that, you know, we can't just put a band-aid on something. We have to try to... It's like my program. You know, you need to send them through certain exercises to make them feel comfortable as themselves and to change their beliefs as themselves. If I was to polymorph...
this sounds like a walk and talk kind of thing.
Reza knocks on the roof of the carriage and said, "What's the hold up?"
Never
Getting a
get
lecture.
to the point. But anyways,
can
we
tell
can
us on the
continue.
way.
Yes, we can continue on. Go ahead. As soon as we hit the road, I will continue.
And Dorian's just gonna be not really listening, but just enough to say when like it's a gap for to show that he's listening along. And
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, if...
Like,
No,
totally.
It's a brain thing. If they don't transform how they think, right? They're never gonna learn.
But there's
instilling
5 of them.
discipline.
Well, you know, you find the most impressionable one and you train that one first and then they follow. Like, Cypher, did you not notice, was one of them more dominant than the other?
Yeah, meanie.
You're talking about the goose, yes?
Yes.
Because I find that's an extremely good way to train people too.
Oh, of course. I mean, that's how you get you have the weaker ones that have somebody that they look up to.
Meanie.
What are you saying? I'm sorry.
And unfortunately, there isn't like a spare head you can make an example out of. That also does a good job.
Cypher's named all 5 heads, by the way.
Eeny, meeny, miny, Fred.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and Fred, yeah.
Now, Dorian, I don't know if this goes back to this fire, and please do not chop off one of my goose's heads to make an example for the
It's your
other
goose
ones.
now.
Do what? It's my goose. This
Is
is
it?
it is my goose.
Sounds like
It
you
is
talked
going
to
home.
Handler.
It's going home with me. No heads will be chopped off. Cypher, I will allow the names because I have not thought of any names yet, but you're going to have to make some name tags because they all look the same.
No, they don't.
Yeah, it's right to left, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But here's the deal. This is mine. Do we have an understanding?
You should talk to the Beastmaster at the pit before you say things like that.
It is not going to the pit.
It came from the pit.
It belongs
It's
to the
on loan
pit.
from the pit.
It will not come out of it. It is not going back to the pit. It is going to my sisterhood.
You better go pay the man. That's all I'm saying.
Inside the carriage, Reza is just kind of sitting there, staring locked eyes with Garrett, and she just says, "You know, I really miss Desmond and that thing he used to be able to do where he made everything quiet."
Dorian doesn't hear that. And then he's just, well, we've got to take the cot back anyways. From there we can decide. Who knows? Your sisters might very much enjoy a big angry goose creature.
I will pay the, what do you call him, the pit master? I will pay the pit master.
Dorian just has this image of like the goose with like sisters in its jaws flailing in the air like little like chew toys, blood going everywhere, screaming. Might be just what they need.
It
It kind of feels like Dorian's happy place.
It'll be in a separate room. I've got it all planned out. My sisters will not be harmed.
Flox versus frogs.
Listen, Garrett said that I couldn't keep it in the undercroft. So, I mean, unless I can keep it in my cottage.
Let's go back to my earlier point of you should have just polymorphed it.
Listen, let's go back to the point that I was trying to make about programs and trying to change things
Yeah.
It's
for the better.
It's at this moment, Dorian, you would notice that there is a bit of a crowd, or at least a lot more people on the streets in the Magister District as you're making your way from the manor. They're all heading in one direction, which is the central marketplace, or the central courtyard of the district. Cypher, Vanya, Dorian, you would hear the occasional call out of a spectacle, or what. I wonder which fucking poor unfortunate bastard's getting scorched today, eh? Now, granted, you could take the road to avoid the area, or you could make your way to the central courtyard. It wouldn't add any extra time, maybe 20-30 minutes maximum, depending on carriage traffic.
So, because we're right there, and who knows when we'll be back, Dorian's going to guide it towards the courtyard, but not like into the mass of people for obvious reasons.
Yeah. Just on the outskirts.
If like we're going to be above most people, so we
You are.
should have a good sight line over. I just want to see what is going on.
All right. So, as you begin to follow the mass of people making their way towards the centre of the district, it's not so much a square courtyard, it's almost like a long street. Either side is kept free from pedestrians, allowing the multitude of carriages to pass to and fro. Here, you would all see things like horses. Actual horses are pulling carriages. Most of these seem to be logistics wagons from merchants or people who have stalls here. There is also a multitude of other creatures, weird and wonderful, pulling other weird and wonderful carriages. Many of them much more ornately decorated and fancier than the ones you're in. Yours is not basic by any means, but there are still a lot of people here with much more coin than you, or who project an image of having coin. It's probably the better way of putting it.
The garish rich.
Garish rich, and they have things such as large lizards pulling their carts. There's a few other various beasts of burden, some exotic. You see what looks to be almost like a horse with a long neck and a hump. Two of them pulling a carriage along. Anyone from down south? No, he's not here.
What?
They've got camels. there's literally all manner of beasts of burden, from monsters that have been dominated to domestic creatures pulling all manner of carts, wagons, and transportation here. A couple of the warden patrols even have 6-wheeled wagons that seem to be made out of wood and brass and bronze that are being pulled along by horse-like bloodwork automatons. But these carriages are not transportation carriages. They're almost like mobile fortresses, small brass and wood towers with these black cloaked, masked wardens on top, all of them with muskets.
Polish war wagons.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, cool.
With that, though, as you make your way onto the main causeway of the central part of the district, the main courtyard, from your elevated position in the wagon, you would see over the masses of the crowds gathered that there seems to be some form of execution, perhaps. A public display. On a raised pedestal in the center of the courtyard is a rather emaciated, pale individual. With your dealings with the court and various vampires, at this point you can pretty much point out a malnourished vampire at this point, and this man fits the very image of a malnourished vampire. Frail...
So,
go on, Reza.
would it be safe to assume that the implied punishment from the Countess of being burned is about to be enacted on this guy?
Absolutely. He is wearing a noble's attire, or at least the attire of someone from the aristocracy. A teal-coloured suit. Granted, at this point, blooded, torn, dirtied, filthed up, caked in mud and various other matter from his time in incarceration. And around this central pedestal, there are 8 black-cloaked individuals. You can't see the faces, apart from the only discerning factor would be a red armband around their left arm, signifying that these are mages from the Sanguine Academy. With the wagon still moving, you would almost get a panoramic view of what's going down as one of these lead mages steps towards a pedestal in the center of this raised platform where a orange orb sits, and with all of these 8 mages chanting, this orb begins to emit a bright light, levitates roughly 10 to 15 feet in the air. For you, Reza, this light's blinding. Anyone remember what the sun looks like?
I was going to say, this is the sun,
Yep.
isn't it?
Yep.
Stuff has never seen the sun.
For those who have seen the sun, though, this small orb that's hovering 15 feet in the air above this platform is emitting the light of the sun. And as the mages begin to, or continue chanting, this beam begins to narrow, and narrow down into a small, roughly meter wide in diameter beam that focuses on this unfortunate malnourished vampire. The crowd begins to cheer, shout, and clap as the vampire's flesh begins to bubble, smoke, and burn, and screams are emitted around the central area. Vanya, roll me an Arcana check, please. Cypher, you too.
Reza looks away and sits back in the carriage.
So, Vanya, this is the... Bear with me. I've just closed the damn thing I needed.
If the spell's not called A Little Ray of Sunshine.
It's actually... It's close. So this is a spell known as Sunbeam. Cypher, you would know this similar. This seems like a much more focused and powerful version of something the coroner hit you with many months back.
Oh, okay.
I like it. Sunbeam.
Uh-huh. Sunbeam. A beam of brilliant light flashes out in a 5-foot wide, 60-foot long line. Each creature must make a Constitution saving throw, and on a failed save, the creature takes 68 radiant damage and is blinded. That's the spell normally, but with this thing being focused from a item, and with 8 mages pouring their magics into this beam continues to grow in intensity and power. As this shackled vampire aristocrat is turned to ash in no more than 10 to 15 seconds. Holy shit. Elron, hello, buddy. How are you? From the darkness he emerges. Good to see you, man.
Sometimes it's almost like you can hear his voice.
So yeah, you would see and hear the crowd just go wild at this clapping. At least those who can. Some who have got these bronze prosthetic arms would probably just be clapping the stonework next to them rather than slapping their own hands. But
So we would get a sense that this is probably a regular occurrence and not something that's shocking to them.
absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, roll me a... Let's go for a history check, Vanya.
Is there anything about what he's wearing that gives us a clue who he's affiliated with?
Roll me a perception check. Vanya, the impression you would get is that this is, whilst painful for individuals and would scorch, your average townsfolk to ash, this is probably even more excruciating for vampires. And judging by the atmosphere here, this is something that they've seen time and time and time again. Dorian? No.
Would she know this from her prior studies? Not saying like she knows the spell, but is that something that she would have read?
There has, maybe not read, but there would have been rumours from your birthplace that the best way to kill a vampire would be through sunlight, and if anyone ever wished to inflict incredible pain on a vampire, the best way to do it would be through something like a sunbeam spell.
Okay.
Any questions for anyone else? Or if not, I dare say it's a trip back home.
After it, Cypher's gonna put his head like in the car in the window and go to Garrett and be like, "Is that what the sun's like? Is it really that bright?"
Yes. Brighter even, and much, much larger.
Really? I'm seeing spots, and he's blinking with his one eye.
Yeah, it's not usually advisable to look at the sun. You can lose your sight that way.
Bit ironic, isn't it?
Wait a minute. So I just hop out of the cart, make sure my pin is firmly attached to my chest, and I go walk up to one of, not the guards on the doing the business, but one round the edge.
Yep.
And I stand there, my chest angled so you can see what's on my. But sorry, I've been away from the city on business. What was this man's crime?
There's a brief moment where the featureless mask looks at you, Garrett. You can't see any eyes behind the mask, as there's almost like a tinted glass over each eye as a lens. And you would see the head just tilt down, look at your chest, then back up to you. Rebel. One of the Moretti folks. Siphoning funds meant for the court. Was found, judged, tried, executed. Not the first, certainly won't be the last. Greedy fuckers that they are. All they see is coin flowing into their pockets. And before you know it, they're spending it on their own frivolous endeavours, rather than handing it up to those who deserve in the court themselves.
Only a madman goes against the court.
There's a respectful nod and a salute from the warden towards you, Garrett.
It is
I
as
won't
you say.
take up any more of your time. I'm sorry.
Oh, you just...
It is as you said. None go against the court. Especially in these districts, they all should know better. But these lesser aristocrats, there's no bound to their greed at times. This...
Beneath the cloak, he motions a hand towards the podium.
Everyone will find their way here eventually.
May all that work against the court find similar fate sooner rather than later.
For blood and for honor. Member of the Vulpescu.
For blood and for honor. Member of the Wardens.
The guard nods.
returns the time.
Yeah, he nods, turns his attention back towards the crowd. The faceless mask ever scanning.
Got a pin, I'm going to use it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Get back in the car and say, I think we're done here.
All right. Dorian will release his. He's been pulling back on the reins, trying to keep the goose.
Roll me an animal handling check. You've mentioned the goose. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Don't invoke its name.
All right, I'll let you off. It tried to nip at a few pedestrians who were just minding their own business, but what do you do?
It's acceptable. It keeps them on their toes. Yeah, no, it nips at people. Like if people come too close and it kind of like goes at them a little bit and they pull back, like that's on them.
And every time he does that, Vanya's going to say, and see, now you're training it that's not acceptable.
And we'll set off. Oh, that was worth the detour. Bones. Jacqueline's in that alleyway, then Bond, you can figure out some dealing with the handler about getting his goose. Literally.
So there's roughly half an hour or so of additional time added to get through the Magister District. Which I dare say, if there's any questions about Magister District, now's probably the time to ask them, if there are any lingering questions.
Honestly, aside from just, like, the time of day is, like, obviously it's always night, but is it, like, midday, essentially, or, like, later in the day?
Maybe a little later at this point. So I would imagine 2, 3 p.m.-ish.
Yeah, it seems like its own little social bubble. And there's the wardens walking around, and they look special here, and there are automatons here also, right?
Yes, yeah.
There are the automatons.
They're not hard to miss.
Yeah, and it's likely that, like, all the trade and currency here is, like, finery and things like that, and, like, we're not talking, like, street stalls as much as, like, actual shops in the wall, so, like, there's not as much to see there.
Correct.
Would you say that there didn't seem like a level of stress with the population, like they were just kind of they didn't feel bullied or anything by that, but just kind of comfortable with all
Absolutely.
of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's there is a general for you, Van, you're a positive atmosphere here. Everyone in Magister District is well off. Their needs are met. They're happy. There's no squalor. You don't see any beggars. You don't see anybody disheveled or unkempt. Literally everybody here, even those who may not be on the highest rung of the social ladder, are still dressed in relative finery.
Do our clothes fit in here though? With
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
So we don't stick out in any way.
Nope. In fact, Gary, if anything, your clothing, as fine as it is probably on the less garish side, which gives the impression that you are of the lower rung of the Magister Districts. For example, some of the dresses you would see several of the ladies wearing would be easily 3 or 4 feet in radius, not diameter, radius. They are huge, almost like they're wearing multicolored, emblazoned with various jewels and gemstones, umbrellas as dresses. A lot of the clothing that the men are wearing are some finely tailored suits, but of all weird and wonderful colours and patterns and designs. It's opulent is probably the best way to describe it.
Cool.
Yeah, garish opulence for the vast majority of people here. It gives you the impression that...
Taking notes.
Absolutely, yeah. It gives you the impression that Dame... Sorry, go on, Garrett, sorry.
Because I'm going to need to be coming back and forwards. I want to fit in.
Yeah. You get the impression that Dame Cordea's outfit is on the less opulent side, with it just being a straight black military suit. You would indeed get away with something like that if it was finely tailored, which is similar to what you're wearing, but you've obviously got more colour.
Yeah. That's what we be rocking for, a military style thing.
Yeah. So yes, your clothing fits, but for those in high society, you'd still get looked down upon for not being as... for not making a statement.
The only statement I need is pinned to my chest.
Go on, Vanya.
Would we have confidence in Jocelyn to be able to get us to this scale, or would we need to get an additional?
I mean, you personally, Vanya, you've got the Troubadour's Finery.
Oh yeah, but
You-
I'm talking about for the crew, if needed.
You would have to splash some gold to get, gemstones and gold and jewelry to match, but it's certainly doable. Absolutely. Coinflow and Jacqueline would be able to provide them. It'd just be expensive.
Garrett's got deep pockets. It's just whether he will open those pockets.
You get your allowance. That's what you get.
Listen, Vanya's got sources coming from others, and she's got Jocelyn.
Yeah.
So.
Vanya, I will say that there's a lot of people here, even you would feel underdressed. There are some outfits here that are just beyond crazy with how voluminous the skirts and how vibrant the colours are. It's a different world. It's a different world in the Magister District.
This would be
Salt on your
her.
senses.
Yeah, it would be her dream world. Like, this would be Pleasantville for her.
It feels like, speaking of Pleasantville, it feels like all of the color has been leached out of the rest of the city and exists
here. You have nailed it in one there, Reza, with that comment. Yes. By extension, it may not just be the Magister District. There's also, Forlorn and Harbound, I think it is, off the top of my head, without checking the map. Quick map. Heartstring District. So yeah, the aristocratic district. So Heartstring, Magister, and Forlorn would all have the same vibe.
Okay.
Who knows what it's like in High Seat? if it's this vibrant here. What's the Nobles District like? Or the Courts District, for that matter?
I'm just going to stand out by not standing out, you know what I mean?
I like to think the leaders of the houses will just sit around in tracky bottoms and t-shirts going, yeah, I don't care.
Slav squat.
Yeah.
Look at these dickheads.
All right. If there's nothing further from the Manchester District, you begin the trip back home.
Yeah, as soon as I'll just put that, as soon as we get across the gate that gets us back into Coinflow, Reza is going to turn to Garrett and say, "Close your eyes if you don't want to see a naked dead lady," and starts changing back into her normal clothes in the carriage.
There would be one last thing you would see as you made your way through the Temple District back towards Coinflow. Circling above the ruins of the Vasanthra Cathedral, there would be an enormous form that, at a brief glance, looks like a giant bat, but with some features elongated, and against the backdrop of the slightly illuminated clouds above, it would almost appear as if it's some form of bat-dragon hybrid that just circles above the cathedral.
Does it look like the true vampiric form?
It's very similar, yes. Yes,
Okay.
It has certain features that make it look to be similar to the true vampire form of the governor that you saw many months back. But much bigger. Like dragon size bigger.
I'm thinking fantasy Vargolf.
Yes. Yeah.
Just bigger.
Yes. It's For the Warhammer fans amongst us, imagine the Vargulf, but big. In shape, at least.
That's a new feel I didn't know I needed.
Who's been around the city for the last 50 or so years?
That'll be me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Corruptian Behemoth springs to mind. Rumour of a giant bat-like creature that some say is Duke Koshevek, others say it's the pet of Grand Duke Koshevek. One thing is certain, though, that the Grand Duke at some point has ridden this giant beast in the sky into battle.
I don't think he needs anything to make him stronger.
Granted, you'd only see it for a few minutes or so before it dove back into the low-hanging cloud and mist of Novostoya above. But it's there. So go on.
I'm not sure what the skybound equivalent of thalassophobia is, but that seems like a good reason to have it.
Eventually, you make your way through Temple back to the gates leading into the Lantern District, or at least a small section of the Lantern District that leads to the Silver Canal Pass. Here, with a quick flash of the Houseful Pescu insignia, other wagons are moved aside, pedestrians quite forcefully shoved aside by spear and shield by the wardens, allowing you straight passage onto the Silver Canal Bridge. And it's here where, once you reach the other side, with an escort of wardens, you pass through back into familiar territory of coin flow. And with that being the 2-hour 15-minute mark, shall we call a last BRB?
Time to piss.
Yeah. 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 And ads start in a minute. Oh man, it's almost like I've got this down to a T almost. Holy shit.
It is convenient.
It's
Remarkably
convenient.
convenient.
Refill on the water.
Yep. Refill your water. Chat's going to be quivering in anticipation of all the horrible things coming our way.
I mean, it's been a session of, horrors, ups and downs. We've got a giant 5-headed goose. What's more horrific than that?
I mean, honestly, lots of things. If the giant 5-headed goose is almost like comic relief compared to things you throw at us every session.
Yeah. You got a point there. You got a point. All right, I'm gonna refill my water. I'll be right back.
Peace.
Oh, I have returned.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
Oh, don't worry, Yeti. Don't you worry. I have now managed to tick the box of opening up the rest of the city. So all manner of horrors are now at my disposal. Ha ha. I've only been waiting. What's this, episode 10 of season 2? So 71 episodes.
As you do.
Oh, man. Excited. All right. So, I think at this point, though, now, it's kind of a DM sit back and just respond to you guys. The main bulk of what needed to be done has been done. You've made a deal and come under the, maybe not control, but the protection, the service of House Vulpescu. You've been given carte blanche, free reign to pass through the city under Vulpescu itself. So, yeah. Like most deals, especially with creatures such as the court, there's always ulterior motives and prices that need to be paid. But for now, well, for now it's on you. Back in home districts, familiar places, coin flow. Folks, what's the plan?
Well, Vanya will start. So her being back, of course, would need to settle up on the goose, and then also make good on her promise of the outing with Jocelyn. That would be her objectives.
It's quite a bit. What about the rest of you? Just as an idea on what to do now.
Well, I'll go. This might overlap with what some other people want to do, but activate our information gathering networks to get every single fucking ounce of information we can on the Sandovals and their associates and what pies they have their hands in. Just start fucking them over.
Yup.
So, yes, but Dorian has a very particular few things to do. One, as much as he doesn't like them, after everything else, he needs to go talk to a puppet maker or puppeteer. And he needs to visit the chirurgeon, and he needs to go to the office to dig up all the records on Sandoval he can about what they actually have with their members. And then, like the tertiary goal, he has an idea of how to maybe help mobilize some of the townsfolk to be a bit more upstanding and empowered.
And more immediately, Reza is going to approach Cypher and say, we need to build a place that we can talk when no one else can hear us.
I need my ring, and you can see that Cypher's starting to get really agitated, and he's rubbing his hand where he wears his ring. He's like, okay, I'll get my ring first, and then we'll talk. Okay.
And then we can talk. All right. Yeah, take your time. Do what you need to do.
So that's what Scyther's going to do immediately. Like he's going to leave Vanya in coin flow with her stupid goose and just leave.
Back to the
Reza's
folly.
following him.
Okay.
Reza's kind of like probably trying to keep up with him at this point because he's moving so fast, I would imagine.
Her best friend is leaving her. Both best friends are leaving her.
I'm gonna join them and walk back to the folly. 'Cause
Dorian, you might as well go too.
Hey, you got a date to keep, you know what I'm saying?
Are you gonna go try to talk to the handler about his goose? Vanya.
I'm sorry, what, Dorian? She was just like completely shocked that everybody is just vacating the vicinity.
So at this point, you are outside of, or back in the alley, I would imagine, of near Jacqueline's store. Cypher, Reza, and Garrett gone.
Well,
Yeah. Are you gonna go with me
to where? The
To talk.
handler?
to the handler? Yeah. I mean, you're trying to practice your, what's it called? Speeches of empowering people, right? This could be a good opportunity to empower the handler to give me the goose.
Empowering, imploring diplomacy, negotiation. You have your own coin, yes?
Of course I do. Let's talk about before, you go and you start negotiating. I don't want to give it all, of course.
You could negotiate, but, there comes a time, Vanya, where, you have all of this thing with the sisters. You really should probably think about coin that doesn't come out of Garrett's pockets, yes?
Well, I mean, I have my own coin from the sisterhood, but I mean, why
yes.
would I give up my percentage of the folly? Because I do contribute. That doesn't make sense. I should get paid for my duties. Is that what you're saying? I'm not giving that up, of course.
You have your coin from the folly. You have some alms and such from the sisterhood. But maybe finding other ways to fund your, let's say, eccentricities and tastes and dresses and things such.
Are you asking for an investment?
No, I have no use of the coin.
Then
Just saying.
what are you getting at? Are you saying that I decline my allowance from Garrett? Because I thought my
No,
allowance
but-
from Garrett was my work being done.
No, you continue collecting your coin there, but you look for other routes, yes? So you have your coin right now in your pocket that you can pay the handler with, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yes. What
So
are
Go
you?
talk to the handler,
Mhm.
get your goose, put it with your sisters. We talk to your sisters about
The goose.
things, and then I will do what I must to secure our position beyond the wall.
Okay. I feel like we're leaving out a part. What additional endeavors are going to bring coin into my pocket?
We could
Are
figure
you
that out. For
suggesting?
now, let's return Jacqueline's car. The thing is amazingly expensive, and you don't want to be in that kind of debt.
No,
The goose has to go back with the handlers. We can
Yes.
go with them. Yes?
but no, I want the goose.
You want the goose, but you must talk with their master, so we have to see what they say.
But we have to go with them. Can we just acquire it right then and there?
You should inquire immediately. I'm sure that they would love to be rid of the thing.
Who would? I mean, come come on. Well, maybe, hopefully, that's their mentality, but who would want to get rid of this majestic?
Probably the people who lost 2 of their cohorts earlier in the evening to a giant, ill-tempered goostrosity.
Oh, did it?
Killed 2 of them.
Oh, I didn't see that. I must have been looking.
And, it's a
at
net
it.
gain for them if you think about it. They have to split the coin between 3 instead of 5.
Exactly. That's a positive way to look at it.
Sure.
I am interested in hearing more about your proposition of making additional coin, because you're definitely right. I was looking at my attire versus some of the attire that we had seen, and even though I have means to look that way, I would rather physically own things that bring me joy so that I can touch them at night.
That phrasing is something, but okay, yes. Deal with the goose now. You go talk to the man.
But you're coming with me, right? In case it
We're
goes
here
sideways.
already.
Yeah, just but be in earshot if you need to step in, because sometimes,
Is the delegate from the handler who brought the goose like right near the cart?
Yeah.
Half the shop.
Yeah, he would still be. They would still be there. At the back in the alley, there's a small table that Jacqueline's put out. Offered them tea, lunch. They've had a whale of a time here. And as you both step up, the man who is pretty familiar, you saw him before, he was the man who you took the goose off in the first place, looks towards you.
Oh, shit. Welcome back. Any problems?
The creature's the devil in the flesh. But we made it work. It's probably going to be quite a time getting it back to across the bridge and through the streets.
I'm not too worried about that. We were waiting for you to get back, and then I'm going to send Numbnuts here back with a message to acquire a few more lads to give us a hand on its return journey.
But how many more lads could you choose to lose, right?
Oh, we're not losing any. We're just going to come in. We're going to, wrap a belt around all 5 of its necks, clatter them together, and drag the whole thing down the street back home.
That's one way to do it.
We'll just get a bigger beast, one that's a little bit more persuasive or affluent to our suggestions to drag it back.
It's a burden.
It's a fucking pain in the arse. That thing's got a temper like no one's business.
And Dorian's going to kind of walk a little bit closer to him and just... Lady's got a mind. She's taken to the creature. I don't know why, but she's got a mind to maybe purchase the thing if you can come up with an offer.
Well, you want to buy that fucking thing? Holy shit. I guess it's... Hang on a minute.
He reaches into his jacket, pulls out a piece of parchment and just begins to look over it.
What's the price of this one normally? Jacqueline's paying us 15 gold for the services rendered, and discreet clause insurance is also included for any fatalities. We'll take care of that, which is good because it's already killed 2 of the bastards. She's got it all. So,
in the moment he says 15 gold, Dorian's eyes just slowly turn towards Vanya. perhaps.
For a day's use.
Yes. Well, perhaps we'll have to come and see you back at the establishment for those terms. After all, it's out here. This isn't a very formal setting.
Yeah. I mean, is in a position to accept coin? You have to speak to the boss about that, but he's pretty amenable. You come up with a decent offer, I'm sure he'll snatch your end off.
And Dorian, did he say 15 gold?
For the day's use.
For the day's use.
For this little trip, it was 15 gold coins.
For 15 gold.
Mm.
How often do you get goose daily requests?
And while she's talking to the guy, Dorian's gonna lean to the side and just see if he can see if there's a price for the goose listed on his little sheet or whatever.
Roll me a perception check.
Oh, my best one.
So what was that, love? You were... How many times is it used? I mean, people in Lantern District. This beast here has been in about 5 fights so far. It brought in some good money. As for hauling and trawling shit, I don't know, 10, 15 times. It's not really recommended is cheap. Hence, why he's here. The biggest thing, cheapest thing that we had at the time when Jacqueline requested it.
Can she tell whether he's telling the truth or not?
Roll me an insight check. Dorian, as you're trying to glance around, he's quite animated as he's talking to Vanya and just waving this parchment around, so you can't focus on it long enough to get a bead on if there's a price listed. Vanya, he does seem to be telling the truth. He's pretty forthcoming with the information. Doesn't seem to be lying.
When when do you retire your inventory?
Dorian just draws his thumb across his throat,
Yep.
the Countess from earlier.
Yep.
Oh. What would happen if one of the heads was to disappear?
Are we talking disappear as in disintegration? I have seen that. That is unpleasant. There was some schizo in the fucking pit. Hid the fact he was a mage. And before you know it, it wasn't a goose. It was something else. A three-headed cat thing. One of its heads just disintegrated with a spell. Gone. I don't know, I guess the others would be pissed. He just shrugs.
But it wouldn't make it any less useful.
Oh, it's a 5-headed goose with only 4 heads. So it would be less useful for fighting.
What if it was down to 1 head?
Have you lost 4 heads before? I don't know. Yeah, look, I'm just one of the labourers. I'm one of the beastmasters. I corral the things. I get them moving where they need to go. I have to get them into the pit. This thing, God knows. Fuck knows what this is all about.
Dorian's going to put one hand over one eye, looking away from the contact, and Vanya. You're going to have to talk to the men if you want to get the goose.
Vanya is going to cast telepathic link on Dorian. Dorian, what if you distract everyone and I happen to polymorph the goose into maybe a cat or something that we could carry away?
I love it.
15 gold a day is a lot, Dorian. I want the goose.
He's thinking they're idiots, but they're not that stupid.
This is on you two. I'm leaving this to you both.
Well, do you have any better ideas? I mean, and they're still talking through telepathically.
You're going to need to negotiate with the handler and buy the thing, because this guy isn't even going to take the coin from you. If you want to steal a giant 5-headed squawking angry goose and expect it to remain secret that you own a 5-headed angry goose that is the size of a card itself, that will come to light, and he will be angry and send people to potentially harm the people who have minding the thing.
Can you not use your governor authority to commandeer my goose?
From across the city, no, I very much doubt that.
Then what good is your power?
Oh, it's plenty good. Just not for seizing giant geese from deranged animal handlers that fight in the arena and send others to fight in the arena and across the city.
So, from what I hear is you're recommending that I need to have a conversation with the handler. Not the
Take
handler.
out a loan if needed.
I don't like to be in debt to anyone. I
Well.
need...
You're going to be.
No.
We're already in debts.
Maybe I could create my own.
Oh no.
I know how. Dorian, I know how to create my own. It would be against my principles. But I really want one. I really want this one.
What's it going to give you?
It's gonna give me... Here's my plan.
I bet you'd be all excited to get a giant goose, and then you wouldn't feed it, you wouldn't take care of it. Everyone else would have to end up doing that for you. You'd leave it disabused like Belle.
Listen, I was gonna use it to let, and this is still through telepathic link, to let the nurse know that I know what she's doing. I was gonna come to the society wearing feathers.
You were going to tar and feather yourself for her amusement. She would not care if you showed up with a giant goose or giant goose eggs.
Tar, and it would be tasteful. She would notice that these are the feathers that she created. But here's the deal. We can digress from this. I've got other means to ruffle her feathers. I will create my own.
Unless you want this goose for your own personal use, then I do not think that obtaining this creature will in any way upset the nurse, regardless of what you do with it.
You're probably right. I will make my own. I don't need this anymore. No, I'm gonna make my own.
At this, you just hear this voice just quite. You two lovebirds just staring at each other.
As she turns, I'm no longer interested in your goose.
Right. Okay.
She's temperamental. Thank you very much, and Godspeed.
Right. Yeah. Well, at least the reins are still on it. We can. Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you bringing it back in one piece. It's not murdered anyone. It's not covered in blood, so insurance doesn't need to kick in. So I think there might be a bit of recompense for Jacqueline on that one. She'll sort it with the handler. Pleasant day to both of you. We'll corral this beast back to the pit.
You as well, yes.
Through telepathic link. She tells Dorian, could be like a mascot, could be a beacon of hope. Each head representing some kind of positive aspect of the sisterhood, and the sisters can gleam encouragement through each one of the heads. Kind of like my statue, but it only has 2 globes.
I think that the statue's orbs probably do a lot more to lighten the spirits than goose heads. Anyhow, we should be off. And Dorian's going to start ushering her along.
But I need to check in with Jocelyn, Dorian.
I don't think that she will neglect taking her due.
Would it be that time of? Would it be really late, or would it be like the next day that she would need to do the outing with Jocelyn?
I have a feeling she's willing to wait.
Yeah,
she's willing to wait.
Yeah, Jacqueline should wait. As you poke your head in, just to let her know that you're back, she'd give you a thumbs up. Granted, it's 4, 5-ish in the afternoon, prime business time in Coinflow. There would be a few customers in that she'd be playing wares to, so she wouldn't have much chance to go into a deep conversation with you. But as you're departing, you would get the flirtatious wink from her that she'll visit the Shadow Circle.
Obviously,
and
changed her name because I have an itty-bitty cousin named Jocelyn, and I
So
changed
good.
her name to that. I apologize.
Don't apologise. So good. I don't care. Call her what you want. She might even like it.
Well, so Vanya is not going to resist Dorian kind of like nudging her along.
You can try.
No, she's not. I mean, there's no point in trying. You're too strong for her. Unless you want to just pick her up and carry her. I mean,
So Dorian's gonna be talking with her and try to usher her, but he's gonna make a specific route to go by the Hestwood estate. And just talk to the door guard, who is probably used to seeing him, being there begging for scraps, and being that he's much more put together now, and he has this lady who also looks very put together, and they look very particularly prestigious. He's going to ask them to forward his regards to his father, and he'd like to have an audience soon.
Hold that thought for just a moment.
Wait, are you wearing?
If you want.
Are you wearing the seal from the? Okay.
So, Vanya, Dorian. Dorian leads you on a little bit of a roundabout way. Rather than heading straight down the main street towards the gates back to lower streets, you head more north, eventually reaching a wide street with what appears to be it's an estate, nothing like Dame Vasari's estate in the Magister District, but still a rather large house. Outside of the house is a low, waist-high wall with a heavy bronze gate, and stood behind the gate is a man in relatively ornate-ish armor. Dorian, you would recognize this man to be a gentleman who's been in service to your father for many years. It's been his right-hand man. They don't have a large guard contingent because you're only a small-ish. merchant house. But even so, he's known as a skilled individual and has served your father for many, many years. Let's go with... Let's get a name for him, shall we?
He's Indigo
Seems
Montoya. He killed his father. Prepare to die.
Or
he does have that look. Go on.
he's got the mustache of, oh my god, I'm blanking on the name. The mustache.
Todd Swanson.
No.
Bert Selleck.
Sam Elliott?
Tom Selleck.
Yeah. It was, I mashed them together. It's either Tom Selleck or Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
All right. We will go with Burt Reynard. In that case.
Fucking.
And he doesn't expect him to say anything because the thing is that over the past year, especially, Charlton being increasingly destitute and looking for handouts and family coin, he's kind of gotten used to telling him to go fuck himself. So he's going to approach under this very auspicious arrangement that he has in this moment. Yes, hello again. I realize that this is probably getting a bit old for you. However, I should very much like to...
The
see
young
Father.
master has returned, does he? Well, that is unfortunate. If you would kindly do me the honours of fucking off, young master.
He says...
Of course. However, first, I should very much like it if you would pass along word to my father. Things have turned around, and he's going to... He has the pin of the Koshevex on his coat. He's not, pointing to it or mentioning it directly, but it's very plainly visible.
Yeah, Volpescu. Yeah. So it begins to talk.
Young master.
Whenever he says young master, it's done with a look of disgust.
Young master, I have passed bigger shits than I care to hand to your father, so if you would kindly do me the honours, and again I repeat, of fucking...
And it's at this moment where he sees the pin of House Volpescu on your chest.
You've also got Vanya, who's just appalled because she's like, how dare he talk like that in front of a lady?
So yeah, he's doing all this, and it's his goal to make this a hit and run. Well, things have changed. I'm lodging at the Baron's Folly in Lower Streets, I know, and he says that kind of facetiously, and he's going to say, if I should very much like to talk to my father now that the winds have changed, and I'll be there if he wishes to send word, but I'd like to have an audience with him soon, him and perhaps my dear sister.
Very well, young master, and apologies, milady, for such curse behaviour.
Vanya is going to do control flames, and the flames behind him are just gonna kind of erupt because of her anger of how he was talking at her, and says, yes, it was extremely inappropriate and uncalled for.
I'm prepared to roll for anything you want to roll for.
I mean, this to me is a straight up intimidation roll. Now, with Vanya also flaring the flames, I'm going to give you advantage on an intimidation roll.
Okay. So, bum.
Young master, apologies for young master. It's you've got to understand your prior dealings. It's
Oh, think nothing of it. Times change. Isn't that right? Things change. Maybe they'll change for the better. Isn't that right, Bernard?
Yes, of course. I will make sure the message is passed on, young master. I will endeavour to make sure you're all fine. In fact, I'm gonna go and do that right now. Right. Good day to you both. Good.
Yep.
And with that, and a slight awkward gait in his armour, he begins to make his way down the path towards the house.
That's good. All right, we should be off then. Let's go get you some coin for your goose, or did you say I had to make one of those things, or is it
Yes,
like you have to give them a special feed, like a grain or something? They're very large. I don't think that's natural.
There are special things that I'm going to need to acquire, but maybe I could get some of the individuals at the Folly to help me, or my sisterhood, of course. You know, it's gonna take some time, but it's not gonna cost me near as much as what they would have requested to buy the goose. And we're all about saving some coin for things that are gonna make an impact, right?
Sure. Yes. There are ideas. We could talk and walk, but we'll have to bring it up with the others. I have a little bit of paperwork and things to do today as well.
We don't have to tell them that I lost the negotiation with the goose. I'm a good negotiator.
You didn't negotiate at all. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Let's just go back to the Folly, get you one of... Reza probably has a bag full of treats that she can give you something from, and it'll be fine.
You think
It'll
they're fresh?
all be fine.
Do you think they're fresh?
Undoubtedly fresh.
Listen, my spirits are not down. I'm inspired by hope, and I will not let this not being able to purchase my goose let me down, because I have alternative means, and I appreciate you trying. May this be the start of you going down a path of helping people.
You're not going to resume.
So with this conversation going back and forth in the streets of Coinflow as you make your way towards the gate, Cypher, Reza, Garrett, what's happening with you three?
Well, first Cypher storms out of the main gate, out of Coinflow, just holding his badge. Like, don't fucking talk to me. I'm walking here.
Like, the wardens part ways, a couple of wagons are moved aside as you just storm through with this pin held high.
And Cypher keep on at that pace, just it's like a fucking angry toddler, just marching home. Until he finally gets there. You probably enter through the alternative entrance that's guarded for the pit.
Yep.
Because it's easier to get to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just walk straight in there, straight down, and go to the throne room. And as soon as he gets to the door, he goes, "Elias, could I please get my ring? Thank you."
Doesn't take long before, as the roots pull back from the door into the throne room, you would see a multitude of smaller roots begin to pass the ring across the ceiling, like monkey bars almost, before eventually a single root with this ring gun is lowered in front of you.
And with a sigh, Cypher will slip it back on his fingers like a cracked addict that just took a fucking hit, and he's like, "That's better. Let's not do that ever again." And he'll just wait for Reza and Garrett to turn up.
Reza Garrett.
Go ahead.
Just strolling along deep in thought. Not hurrying like Cypher was. We get up to the gate. And obviously, we guessed that Cypher just pulled his way through, being as agitated as he was. I'm just gonna slowly walk forwards and see how long it takes for the symbol to be noticed.
It doesn't take long at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, Garrett, that when you flash the symbol up, there's a slight resonance, a shimmering of the pin, and that causes the wardens nearby to immediately turn their attention towards you. You get the impression, I'm not going to ask you to roll because you probably already guessed where I'm going with this. With this thing being held out, it's almost like a beacon to those in the service of the court. You hold it up, and those within range will be drawn to it. Almost as if they're charmed, perhaps, or there is some form of compulsion that whenever a sigil such as yours is held aloof, that they are compelled to focus on it.
Well, this is going to be a useful little thing.
Reza had stopped to refill on pastries because she gave up trying to keep up with Cypher. She's like, shit, these are 3 days old. I really need to get some fresh ones because I'm probably gonna have to shut her up a lot tonight. This is her inner dialogue. So she stops at the pastry shop by the gate and then tries to catch up with Garrett, which probably shouldn't be too hard since he's meandering. So she's fairly close behind him, walking through the gate.
Yeah, you two would have the similar experience if you saw the pin or held the pin of House Vulpescu up. You get the impression that wardens are almost
Reza's
forced
not.
to look at it. Okay.
Reza's not. She's going to have her normal coin flow pass out and say,
Okay.
Oh, the mistress was insistent upon getting these and only these. Please let me through quickly. I need to get back.
You passed off with the usual brusque attitude of the wardens. The impression of almost kicking you out of coin flow, like you don't belong there. Get out of here, fucking. Get back into the shithole.
She just runs off.
Well, yeah, I would say with that then, Garrett, Reza, you eventually make your way back to the Folly and extension of the Shadowed Circle. If there's nothing anyone wishes to do there, probably another half hour to an hour passes. In fact, probably a little more, an hour and a half, I would imagine, before Vanya and
Well,
Dorian
before
return.
they get back, Reza is going to go find Cypher, hoping he's got his ring. And between the three of them, if Garrett wants to participate, we need to make a space that is hidden from all ears in case we need to discuss this. So, what will be best, Eli? Do we already have such a space?
I think
Oh.
probably one of the best places would be below.
Yes, but what of the cats?
Hmm.
We just go into the sanctum and we send them to the outer perimeter, and they won't be able to hear.
Because I
It's
don't
a
want
hu-
anything to happen to them.
I mean, it's a huge area. It's more us I'm worried about.
Yeah. It's not so much them that would have the issue, it's you guys.
Oh, I know that. I know that. But Rez is just being very protective of her cats. as a crazy cat lady would.
Absolutely.
They can look after themselves.
Okay.
So to the sanctum it is. With you three making your way down into the depths below the shadowed circle, below the Undercroft, you step out into the ruins of the city below, or at least this tiny, secluded area, and not so much ruins by destruction, but just through time, worn down. An hour and a half passes, and eventually, Reza, Dorian, with your return to the Shadowed Circle, to the Undercroft, seeing that Reza, Garrett, and Cypher aren't there, you two would make your way down into the depths.
Yes.
Eventually, with you all now assembled in the sanctum, this is probably the first chance that you would have all had to discuss just what the fuck has just happened. So if there's anything anyone wishes to say, now's probably a good time, because once this is all said and done, I think we're at a pretty good natural point to call it for the day.
Well, when Vanya and Dorian walk in, I go, no goose.
Vanya's gonna look at Dorian and then look at them. It's a bit more than what I'm willing to spend. I feel like the money could be used elsewhere. No, I need a building and coin flow, and I'll find
She hands her a fresh pastry.
And she's thank you. I'm all about instant gratification, but I couldn't bring myself to that. Right, Dorian?
Yes. Yes. Well, there'll always be next time or something.
Yes. Well, anyway, I felt that we got set up. Yes.
Are we safe?
Yes, there is nothing living nor dead within earshot.
The cats don't count.
No, they're walking the far reaches perimeters.
Okay.
Who do you think did the setting up?
I think she did. I wouldn't be surprised if she's got spies in. Well, at least the Shattered Circle.
The staffing
And
for
the
the
road.
Shattered. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I've just. The staffing of the Shattered Circle did seem to come together quite quickly.
Most of them are probably unwitting. You don't know if they've been charmed or bewitched. They probably don't even know it.
She could just pop into any one of their heads at any time and see what's going on.
Possibly. Although she did have some gaps, and he looks at Garrett.
Well, I don't go telling my business to many people.
Worked in our favor, I think.
Should probably keep it that way best we can, which I know you will. Fortunately, I'm not sure which. She knew exactly what I am. In more detail than I knew.
It seemed like she pretty much knew what all of you were.
Hard to hide what some of us are in the presence of something so powerful.
I think the only way I went unnoticed is I was born this way.
That, and it's possible she doesn't have a frame of reference for what you are.
Could be.
When we
Could
talked
be.
about dimensions, she didn't mention the Fey realm.
I would imagine our kind are not welcome there.
So has she never encountered anyone of his kind? Is that what you're saying?
It would be strange someone as old as her not to have encountered the Fae, as we have come and gone at our pleasure when the portals are open. But
She is less than 100 years old. And for 50 of those years, the portals have been closed, have they not?
yes, but still 50 years.
I'm going to interject and give you something there, Garrett. The way she was talking, you picked up on it that she did seem to be older than what you would expect. There is knowledge of... Reza's right. She is, supposedly Vulpescu only came to prominence when the court became a thing 50 years ago, but her mannerisms, her depth of knowledge far surpasses what should be a 100-year-old vampire, or 50-year-old vampire with 50 years before that. There is certainly something else going on there, but yeah, I'm gonna step back from that one. Carry on.
Excuse me. Something tells me she's older than you think.
Depends on how much time she spent in different dimensions.
Yes, but we're just spitballing here. So, the Sandoval's. This is our interview, as it were. Can we deliver on what she wants?
I expect so. Take a bit of doing, bit of research. Just knock the legs out from their operation, what little they have left. It's almost fortuitous this entire time. They've been suffering as we've been thriving, and it just seems natural. I
True.
think-
But the
I think the
Doctori are
Morgus-
going to be a problem.
Can
I
we
think that-
use... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Can we use the Morettis in any way? Because they're already at each other's throats as it is.
Oh, yes. I think we can use them to get information under the guise of helping them.
Because also, the execution today was a Moretti that got caught stealing. So we know they're greedy. Maybe the promise of some gold here. A few bottles of bloodshot there.
Moretti who got caught stealing, you say?
Yes, they were embezzling funds rather than passing the tithe on to the courts.
I wonder if it was a Sandoval who exposed them.
Might well be worth looking into.
It is now.
Or maybe get some wild accusations made by some Sandovals in prominent places.
That is sort of our modus operandi.
Yes, because overt, like, killings and such, I don't think would stand in our favour, especially as we're supposed to keep the knowledge of the agreements we've made between ourselves at the moment. But if we can pull the strings from the background and cause the whole house of cards to fall.
It's good thinking, but I think this is one of those rare circumstances where we do have to be in the forefront, at least a little bit as well.
Mm-hmm.
We might have to be a bit more overt with the Doctori. They've already attacked out in the open using firearms. They had firearms in the lower streets.
Yes.
Also, they've changed. I want to find out who's behind that.
Yeah, they don't seem very with it individually.
And they have been alchemically altered.
Embolden and increase subservience through some kind of drug.
I'm not sure.
Well, I know the name Joran van Ryssen. He seemed to be the one holding the Sandoval's strings directly. Reminds me, I do need to go see that puppeteer. I can wait.
Yes, I'd rather not have any more of those abominations popping up in Lower Street.
Well, they did assault Director Farida, though I'm sure they will put that down to he said, she said situation. But then they did also, just last night, assault someone who's also vying for the office that they're trying to take. And Dorian just gestures to himself, where he's still slightly wounded from the attempt. Maybe perhaps between the two, that would draw more scrutiny from the wardens, who have no love for the Doctore. Push the Doctore a bit, have them attempt an overt action and be witnessed directly by forces that would crush them mercilessly.
Force their hand and ambush. I like that.
Would I?
Maybe. Go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry, go ahead. Reza had kind of been sitting lost in thought and was barely listening to the conversation. Sorry, go ahead.
Maybe. I imagine with Farida gone, they might push Reuben back into the district as a pawn, and he might be easy enough to manipulate. Make him think that he's winning for his side when really we're just using his limited influence as a smokescreen for ours, and cut the strings on their puppet.
But I wonder though, all that time ago, when we were dealing with Invara and her bullshit, it was Dr. Stephen Bryce, who was a name we had mentioned. But now there's another person? Like, how are they related? That's what I'm wondering.
Hostile takeover?
Could
Perhaps.
be. Change of ideology.
I
Perhaps.
wonder what Valentina and her sisters might be able to find out about all this, if anything.
Worth a shot.
That would be helpful. I can pull some documents from the office. And there's the fact that the Sandoval they're touting about is especially vulnerable due to how they've decided to control him.
Where are they working out of? Commons?
Well, they have their little base camp out front of the office, but...
Roll me a history check, Dorian.
Very well.
DC 10, it's not difficult. You've overheard a few conversations whilst you were in the office. Mention of Dirktown. And there was also a mention of West Commons. Was it West? Bear with me. Let me double check.
Oh, that's adjacent to Dirktown.
Yes.
So
Yeah. That's the one I would look at. Yeah, so it's Dirktown and West Commons you heard in passing of something. You don't... No details, of course, because the Doctore, at least the foot soldiers at least, have said very little. But you have overheard Dirktown and West Commons.
Oh, there's a fortress in Dirktown. Do I know off the top of my head if wardens man that?
All keeps outside of the walls are manned by wardens. Not so much to be a police force. It's more of a defensive position in case of invasion or other threat. Now, could they be corralled into action for something that would threaten the district or, by extension, the court? Absolutely. But they don't step out in patrols to police the districts unless it's viable for them.
I was just more
necessity.
or less wondering if, like, the Doctori could be operating out of a fortress, which would suck. That's a path we don't need to go down again.
Yes. No. So, for all intents and purposes, the fortresses are warden strongholds.
Okay.
Even the one in Piker District is still manned by wardens. They just don't go out on patrols in the Piker District because there's no need to. The slums is seen as a shithole. They're not there to police the slums. They're just there to make sure that the city is safe from any outlying forces such as Barak. Large-scale incursions or things that could potentially threaten the city itself.
Well then. Philippe Sandoval is their token piece right now.
Maybe our dwarven friend from the Commons can get us some information on their movements.
Perhaps.
He's probably roasted most of his brain cells by now. But perhaps.
He has enough helpers who are competent.
True.
Exactly.
I think the plan for the next few days then is to acquire as much information as we can.
As quietly as we can.
Mm-hmm. And then come up with as many plans as we need to pull the legs out from under them.
Doodlettes.
So, with that revelation, even though it's no surprise to no one, we have the starting of a plan.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's safe to say that getting in contact with the number 2 of the Crimson Corps, or well, number 2, number 3 positions are fluid, along with the opening of the city, is a pretty momentous occasion. Some might even say this is a milestone in the campaign.
Oh, yeah.
Night.
Oh?
Are you shitting me?
With the financial backing behind you, along with your own personal power and the power that you have started to create in Nova Stoya, I think that's a pretty good position to say congratulations on level 8, everybody.
Time to multi-class people.
Oh.
It only took 7 months, guys!
Episode 71, level 8, you're welcome. I am a generous god. Orc, they are indeed happy now. Welcome in, man. How are you?
Master's given Dobby clothes.
It's not a sock, it's just a used pair of undies.
Oh god. Pocket Yeti, we were on break for a chunk of the summer, so it's not 7 months of sessions. But yeah.
No, just play it up like it's 7 months. Come on.
It's 7 months, guys!
Well, yeah. So to round out as a brief recap, then you have now come under the umbrella of House Vulpescu. You have the permission and the backing to go pretty much where you want, within reason, of course. You can't just stroll into, a heavily defended warden fortress or into the military garrison and be like, we'll come for an inspection. The guards would probably curb stomp you into the ground. But for moving through districts, at least, for political plays, getting information from other district officers. That's all now well within your purview.
Other district officers, really?
You have the symbol of House Moretti.
Vulpescu.
Of House Vulpescu. You are for all intents and purposes, a member of a noble house. You are directly under Countess, with regards to the medal at least, directly under the Countess herself. If anyone asks, then you're recruited by Dame Vasari.
Vasari.
Yeah, but with that sigil, you are a member of House Vulpescu of the Crimson Court. Who answers to the Crimson Court? Everyone. You are on the level of almost the Inquisitors to an extent.
So, quick question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Dirktown Slums would have a government
No,
office.
it wouldn't. No, but all of the slums is governed by the district office in Lower Streets.
Okay. But East and West Commons, they have their own.
Correct.
Okay. Dorian, we're going visited.
Someday, we'll all be a part of House Blackthorn under Reza.
All right. With that said, though, any other final closing questions for tonight's session?
Yes. See you later, chat. I've got to go and level up. Peace.
Bye, chat, same.
Goodbye, chat.
And see you next time on Pariahs.
Oh, all right, everyone, with that and then muted, I'm going to head us over to the ending screen. Thank you for joining us, everyone. It's appreciated. Ock, Renexia, you caught us right at the very end of today's session, but thank you for hopping in. As for myself, I'm well. I'm good. Thank you. Hope things have been going good on your end. I've not had a chance to catch in on the Thursday games for obvious reasons recently. So I hope that's all going well on that front. But yeah, with that, we'll head over to... I'll put the video on just to end it, and we'll find someone to raid. So with that, everyone, thank you for the support, as always. And we will see you next Sunday for something. Vanya won't be joining us next Sunday, so we'll maybe Vanya down, but it's all good. Yeah. Elron, good night. And with that, the video. Ta-ta for now. Bye.